All right, welcome to Monday Musings, episode 4. Little different today because we're not talking Smash. I don't have an excuse to talk Smash. We're talking about other stuff for once in our lives. Um, for the literal two people in the chat, would you mind introducing yourself, Alan?
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Alan, or TanukiAlan, if you look me up on Twitch, and hopefully soon on YouTube as well. So, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's gone. So this show, when I started it, was supposed to be like my excuse to talk about things that I normally wouldn't talk about on my Twitch because I'm like pigeonholed and doing Smash content, it feels like. So this was supposed to be my
Right.
outlet for other stuff. And it's regressed a little bit into like half the episodes now have been super Smash centric, and I've been ranting about different topics in the community and such. So it's really
Right.
nice and really refreshing to have you on and talk about something that's not related to Smash in the least bit.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here, dude. It's a little different, definitely very different. I'm new to streaming, I'm new to all these things. So, even just like having a camera in front of me and speaking while nothing else is going on game wise, it's very different. So, you're going to have to excuse me if I trip over my words or say something that doesn't make that much sense or whatever. Just let me know. Just let me know. I'll correct myself. You know what I mean?
Nah, I'm sure you'll be fine. So, ironically, my start with streaming, the first video product I ever did was the LSG podcast, which is on like
Mhm.
its 60 something episode now, like season 2, 6 episodes in. That was the first piece of content I ever did with like excluding Halo montages from when I was 15. That's the first
Right.
piece of content I ever did, like just sitting awkwardly
Okay.
in front of a camera and talking.
Right. Yeah. It's different. It's different, but it's like anything else. You get used to it.
No,
You know.
absolutely. So that podcast has been a fun little adventure because we started doing it online the same way we're doing it now and the way we do this show. But
Right.
4 episodes in, we got contacted by a radio station in Houston, and we got. I don't want to use the word sponsored because they let us use their studio. Was the deal? We plugged them. We used their studio. So we
Right.
went
Right.
from like 2 episodes in. We went from Discord with all of its beautiful thing, with me having no production experience whatsoever, the people I was doing it with having no production experience whatsoever, to thrown into a professional, like a literal professional studio. And we did like,
Right.
I want to say we did 4 or 5 episodes there. And then we moved to Coral Sword and we did like 20 something episodes there. Um,
Jeez, man.
it was nice
That's
doing,
definitely that's definitely something like it always seems like it happens that way, right? Like you get thrown into it. Hey, figure it out. Sink or swim, dude. And you really don't have a choice. You're gonna have to swim. You know what I mean?
mhm. It was nice at Coral Sword because there was a producer there that did all the production stuff. So all I had to do was sit behind a desk and talk and
Oh,
whoever
that's
was my
awesome.
guest and stuff. It was really nice.
Right, right, right.
But this past like month ish, we've been back to me streaming from the office. First couple episodes, I didn't have a light. Like the lighting in this room sucks. So I'm gonna turn
Right.
off my ring light for the people to see. Like you can't see my face; it's all in shadow and stuff. But
Whoa.
with the ring light and everything, like it's a world of difference. And
Right,
the
right, right.
production's slowly getting better. Um, but I don't think anybody's really interested in that. Let's talk some Mario. So how did you get into Kaizo Mario, speedruns, all that fun stuff?
Man, it's a hard question. That's a hard question to answer. But I mean, everybody, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have some kind of experience with video games, you've played some kind of Mario game at some point. You know what I mean? Mario is like so universal for everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, growing up, we played all the 2D Mario's. Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, and then Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, and so on and so forth. I missed a few of the 3D Mario's in between there, but the 2D Mario's have always been a part of just life. You know what I mean? Like, um, and then recently, kind of recently, when I saw that people were taking, because Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo is my favorite one of all time. I
Right.
think it plays great. The physics are great. It's just an amazing game, right? So people take that game and they they make it their own, and they make it extremely difficult, because you get to a point where you play these games over and over and over, and they're just easy. You're playing them because it's nostalgic. It feels good to play them. Um, but how cool is it that now you get to play the same game with new challenges and new things that you need to learn? Like it's a very interesting experience. So uh, that's just kind of how I got into it. It was just naturally like, I wish I could play, and that's actually what I started doing. I started going back and playing retro games,
Hmm.
and that's when I found this, and I was like, oh man, this is amazing. Like some of these games, these Kaizo Mario games are just, I mean, you would pay for them. Like nobody sells them or anything. And that kind of goes against the community. Nobody's trying to make money off of them. People just make them because they enjoy making them. And they're there for us to enjoy. So now I have like an endless amount of Kaizo Mario games that I'll be able to play for who knows how long, until I literally give it up, or I don't know. So actually, I don't know, but is Kaizo Mario a known thing? Do like people, because I know I didn't know much about it. The few times I had seen Kaizo Mario, it was just really hard Mario stuff. And that's all I knew, you know what I mean?
Right. So my experience with it has been like the Grand Pooh Bear stuff and Mario
Right,
Maker stuff was kind of the introduction, like awesome games done quick or summer games done quick, like
right,
back in 2015 or 16 when they kind of just started blowing up. That was the first time I'd ever experienced Kaizo Mario. And but for me it was always a passing thing. It was always a okay, that's cool. But for single player games for me, like I've always been a fan of challenge runs and such, but I've been a Dark Souls guy.
right, right,
So like I do Soul Level 1 runs, I do Dark Souls speed runs, I've done Breath of the Wild speed runs, but I've
right.
never gone back and played Kaizo Mario. Um, so I don't know how known it is. I feel like it's relatively known now. I feel like it's a sort of mainstream thing. Like Grand Pooh Bear he's huge. The man's a legend,
Right. Sponsored by Red Bull, by the way.
right? Like how cool is that to be a Red Bull athlete for playing Mario? Like that's
I
every 6-year-old's dream.
right. I was just about to say that. I mean, I don't know. That dude's living it. You know what I mean? That dude's definitely living it. But yeah, I knew you had some experience with speed running and stuff. And Kaizo Mario speed running. Well, I mean, first of all, like there's Kaizo Mario, right?
Right.
A lot of people play it, don't have anything to do with speed running. They just play it, they enjoy it, and that's cool. And that's I never planned on speed running anything. I want to now, um, but like some of these speed runs, like the any percent speed runs out there, you do any percent by glitching something, by having a workaround, um, and that's how you're getting these great times. With Kaizo Mario, surprisingly, there's not a lot of glitches. Like there's not a lot of ways for people to make these games faster. So the only way that you can really get these records is by doing perfect runs.
Right.
You know, so and that I always found speedrunning interesting, especially, I find it fascinating that people can find ways to break the game and get to the end as quickly as possible. And I think that's awesome. That's amazing. But that doesn't necessarily interest me because that's just not the type of gaming that I wanted to do. Now with Kaizo Mario, since there are no real glitches to exploit, you're just forced to be good at it. So now here's a way to be involved in speedrunning and not having to know all these little things or trying to find all these little glitches that are going to save you half a second, a third of a second, and have to just keep doing them over and over and over again. So
No, I definitely with you there. Like my preference for speed runs has always been glitchless runs. Like when I play Dark Souls 3, I do all bosses, soul level 1, glitchless. Like that's my favorite category. And that's the category that I used to run every single night. I would get as like my whole thing for speedrunning that game was I wanted to play it as much as I could in one night. Like I wanted to be able to beat it in one night, and then I wanted to be able to beat it twice in one night. And it just like I wasn't timing myself or anything. I just naturally progressed into speedrunning it because I wanted to experience the game in its entirety every single night when I got home from work, and that was the only way to do it. But
right.
I definitely find the glitchless category is more interesting. Um, with Breath of the Wild specifically, like the only glitch that I really enjoy is like the fall damage one, and I don't even know if that counts as a glitch. Like I don't know if you do a glitchless run
Mhm.
because there's no clipping or anything. I don't know if a glitchless Breath of the Wild run allows the fall damage
So
trick.
what is the fall damage
So
that you're talking
if you're in the middle of the animation for throwing your weapon, like you're tossing a weapon away, and you
about? Right.
switch out of it before the weapon leaves your hand, if you do that right before you hit the ground, you don't take any fall damage.
Right, right,
So you
right.
have to, it's like 4 button input. That's like a quarter of a second ish window. So it's not like,
Wow.
it's not even hard really. It's like super simple, but
Right.
you just time it right in relation to the fall and you take no damage.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I've seen some of the Breath of the Wild speedruns and they're insane, you know, especially like I don't know, I don't remember the categories or what they were, but clipping into shrines and things.
Yeah, it's
It
gotten crazy real quick.
right. I mean, and that's cool. I love to watch it. I think it's fascinating. But that's just not for me because how much would it hurt to work your ass off to try to get a world record and then somebody finds just a better way that's going to save them 10 minutes 20 minutes because they found a new glitch and it's like, man, that really sucks, you know, like you're always going to chase that,
Right.
and I would rather chase that through something that's glitchless, that forces me to be good. Like I have to be better than this guy at the game rather than, you know, he just knows more about breaking games than I do. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So Breath of the Wild specifically, like not to keep talking about that game, I know we're supposed to be talking about Mario, but Breath of the Wild also has amiibos, and the amiibos save like literal minutes. Like
Right.
you can save over a minute by having an amiibo in that game. Like
Really?
just because you get a faster horse, you get a horse that's obedient, you don't have like you get better
Right,
so
right,
weapons, like it's just amiibos completely break the speed run. They're considered necessary. So when I was running it, this was like 2 weeks after launch. Everybody was trying to get
right,
sub 1 hour. I got a 58-minute run. It was like 2 minutes faster than the next run on speedruns.com. Woke up the next
right.
morning and there were three people that were already faster than me.
Oh
But
man.
it was really cool, like you said, like it was chasing that, and then when you find out that hey, he got all that extra time because he clipped through something that I didn't know you could clip through, or he did a glitch that I didn't know
Right,
existed, or the big thing like in the early times was the fall damage glitch. Like when that was found, that was huge because nobody really knew like you could just fall off the tower.
right,
Like something that now is like so obvious and so simple, like it's just something that nobody knew existed back then.
right. And then that just becomes the norm because it's efficient, it works, and it just has to be like it's forced to become the norm. You know what I mean?
Right. Before that, like the big tech was doing the shield jumps. So you could like, if you switch to shield surfing mid jump, you get extra distance on your jump, and you can actually jump over gaps. Like the mag, is it magnesis? Is that what it's called? The
I'm not.
the magnet ability, whatever it's called.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a gap in that you're supposed to take a magnet and put a block down so you can walk over the bridge. You can actually use the
Right,
shield jump just to clear the entire gap without having to ever touch it.
right,
So that saves like it saves like 15 seconds doing that way. And then there's another
right.
glitch to get there's the bridge that goes over the water into the like frozen area.
Mhm.
That used to be the run killer because if you have to space the jump, you have to come at the perfect angle and then do a shield hop to land on a post in order to cross the bridge without moving the metal plate. But that used to be the run killer. Like that used to be the you're watching people do Breath of the Wild runs and they just reset because they screwed up that one jump.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
yeah.
was
I know.
like
I'm gonna bring that up too, like because I've seen that. I've seen people be like 40 minutes into something or longer, and they screw that one thing up, and they're like, "Runs over. Got to
mhm.
start it all up. Try again."
In Dark Souls, I used to reset if I died.
Really, just one death, and that was
One
it.
death, and I just reset the whole thing, the whole game. But Dark Souls, like I said, I never really timed myself. It was more of a personal thing. Like I just wanted to beat the game. So beating it deathless, soul level one in one night, like that was the bar. I did it every single day for like 2 years.
Right. Golly, dude.
I love that game. I had a new plus character, new game plus character that was on new game plus like 300 and something. Like I beat the game
Wow.
over 300 times on that character.
That's awesome, dude. Unfortunately, I've never gotten to play any of the Dark Souls games. Um, I've just never had the chance. I've always wanted to. Those games look exactly like my type of games because everybody says that they're extremely difficult. I want to
They're
play it. You know what I mean?
right. They're unforgiving, is what they are. If I had to define
Sure.
Dark Souls, like it's not difficult. You just have to get in the right mindset, and the game teaches you. Like if you're if you're one of those players that like I have friends that get super frustrated, like man, that's not fair. If you're gonna have with that mindset, you'll never progress. But if you look at it and be like,
Right.
man, I messed up. This is how I messed up, and then you can learn from it. That's what Dark Souls like. It's a
I
good
got
game.
you.
I love that game.
Right. I got you. I see what you mean.
It
Uh,
so let's talk about Kaizo a little bit. What
sure.
separates
We got
like
off topic a little bit.
hey, it's gonna happen.
That's
What is Kaizo Mario? What makes it special? How would you
so.
define it?
So I asked this question because I didn't know the answer to it. Because you basically you have standard Mario and then you have Kaizo Mario, right? And when we're talking about like ROM hacks and games that people make, I thought people were only making Kaizo Mario. Apparently, there's standard games out there, and the difference is standard plays a lot more like the original games as far as you're not set to one path. You know, you're not set to you have to do this to this to this to this. You know, you can just figure it out. You know, take whatever path you want, get whatever power ups you want. In Kaizo Mario, you're not given that option. In Kaizo Mario, there is a set path, and it has to be done in that way. Now, of course, nothing's perfect, and a lot of these games, or I'm going to say most of these games, are made by one person, and possibly they're tested by multiple people. But you know, the opportunity comes up for that to like um, you might be able to find another way around a certain something, but it doesn't happen often. So Kaizo Mario is very specific. It's you like the tricks have to be done a certain way, the jumps have to be done a certain way. If you're off by a little bit, you're not gonna make it, and you start the level over. So you have, I mean, just in Kaizo, there's a multitude of just tricks that are kind of standard. You play a little bit of Mario, right? Like, I'm sure you've heard of shell jumps, or maybe you
So
haven't.
when somebody says Kaizo, that's the first thing I picture. Like in my mind, like that is the Kaizo like staple is the shell jumps. Like when they throw the
Right.
shell against the wall, it bounces off, they jump on it or catch it, or like to me
The
that's the staple. Like that's the thing I'm most familiar with.
that's kind of what I was going off of back then. Like before I knew that, like, oh, if it's got shell jumps, it's definitely Kaizo, you know. But apparently there's very hard standard games out there that don't follow a set path. You can just play them however you want. They're just difficult. But Kaizo, like I was saying, it's you have to do things a certain way. And shell jumps are like a staple of Kaizo.
Mm-hmm.
What the first time I ever saw a shell jump, it blew me away, you know, because I've been playing these games my entire life and I'd never seen anybody do that. And I was like, that's kind of game breaking. Like that, I'm sure you could go back and play the game and like, I don't know, it just opens up a whole like a huge thing of just like possibilities for the game. It actually, you would think it would. It's the original game isn't hard enough to where you would ever need that, but um so there's staple tricks and people are coming up with new stuff all the time, stuff that hasn't been seen before. You know what I mean? Certain
Right.
jumps, certain mechanics, certain things that haven't been seen before. So also I want to bring up because it might be relevant. In Kaizo, there's you have vanilla Kaizo and you have what is now chocolate Kaizo. So vanilla Kaizo, um, it doesn't deviate too much from the mechanics of the original game. It's all the same enemies, all the same bosses. You know, they definitely do change them, like especially bosses, but a shell works like a shell. A fire flower lets you throw fireballs, and you know, these things work as they're intended. So now people are making chocolate where things are being completely recoded We've got completely new power-ups, new enemies, new everything, and it all works completely different. So now, not only do we have like just vanilla Kaizo, which like that's hard enough as it is. That's fun enough as it is. Now you've got basically like we're getting further and further and further away from what Super Mario World was,
Right.
and I think that that's a great thing. Like when I first saw these chocolate Kaizo hacks, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna play any of those right now, anyways. But I was lucky enough to where I had a creator come into my stream and he said, "Hey, do you want to play my hack?" Or he was, I don't think he just was like, "Hey, do you want to play it?" He mentioned that he was making a hack. We were talking about it and he gave me the opportunity to play it. So the game isn't released. It's probably got another 6 months till it's released. And it's a very chocolatey hack. And it's got, I don't want to give too much away because I don't know what he allows me to give away and what not, but
Right.
um, it's just, it blows me away, man. It blows me away. Like this one power up specifically that just knocked me off my seat. You've got like a Pokemon power up, so now you're Mario and you got a like you're throwing Pokeballs, right? So you throw it at an enemy dies. I thought he just died, right? I just thought he reskinned the fire flower.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I jumped up on a platform, threw the Pokeball, and the enemy popped back up. And I was just blown away by the fact that like not only is somebody creative enough to do that, and to make that work, but like make it work in a fun way. So now I have to catch enemies and throw them down in certain places so that I can jump off of them, bounce off of them to get to where I'm going.
Oh, that's cool.
So and that's just one of so many things in this game that's just it's amazing. So another thing I want to bring up about Kaizo, about that game specifically, most Kaizo ROM hacks, they do about 14 levels. And don't hold me to this, but from what I've seen, most of the games are like 14 levels, 16 levels. Anything past that, and you're kind of, it's just too much.
Right.
Because a lot of people like to play these games in one sitting. Once you get good at it, you can speed run it and you can play it in one sitting. But there are a few out there that are huge. So this one, I believe it's going to be um, 80 exits,
Oh, wow.
80, 60 something exits or something. And right now he's up to like 60 something. And what blows me away even more, like he built everything. The level design is his. He did get help on coding some things, and music and stuff, I believe. But like the game is his. He's 21 years old.
That's crazy.
He's 21 years old, and he's making games that will put Nintendo to shame, because this isn't his first one either. This is his fourth one. Started making them at 18. So
No, it's crazy what kids with a little too much free time can accomplish. Like,
and like where else do you get to see that? Like I mean, I don't know. There you can definitely like download game engines like Unity and whatever else and build games, but here like it's all like you have a canvas. If you're
mhm.
creative enough, you work hard enough at it, doesn't matter if you're 21, 30, 12, you can make something, and who knows, you might make something that's amazing,
That
you
whole
know.
story reminds me of messing with. Do you know what Mugen is?
No, I do not.
So
Sounds a little.
Mugen is like, I'm gonna butcher this, and everybody that's ever played it is gonna be in YouTube hating me, and that's fine. But basically, it's an engine you can download to build fighting games in. Is this
Okay.
oversimplification? And so when I was a kid, like my mom wouldn't buy me every fighting game I wanted to play, and I wanted to try a lot of them, so it was just unrealistic. So I found this Mugen thing, downloaded it on my computer, and started rebuilding the fighting games in my computer. And
Right.
you could like take sprites from different games and put them together, and like put the health bars from one game, like in that art
Holy
style, the character
crap.
selection from another, and in typical like do-it-yourself coding and game development, half of it doesn't work, so you have to figure out creative solutions to get it to all work and fully fleshed
Right.
out. And there are people that have built like fully fleshed out games in this engine. and it's just 2D fighting games. But when you talk about people building like ROM hacks of their own, it reminds me of tinkering with that and how excited I was when I made a sprite of Ryu, like recolored it and reanimated it to have a completely different move set and got it working in Mugen, and I was so happy with myself.
That's awesome, dude. That
But
is, I didn't know that it. I feel like I've heard of it, but I definitely didn't know about it because that's awesome. But see, when you're determined enough, and like it doesn't really matter like if you're creative or not, like you'll figure it out. Just working hard at it, like something like that, you know.
right,
Um,
and
I guess you do have to be somewhat creative, but like you were just trying to take games that you wanted to play and you were recreating them here.
right.
That's awesome. That's really amazing.
But I think it's really cool that like nowadays there's so many resources. Like you want to do a ROM hack, you have all these resources that in a community, like you have access to communities where you can develop that skill and actually make like really really cool stuff. So to see
Right.
like younger people making ROM hacks of their own and then them actually turning out good is it's super cool. Because imagine what that kid, for lack of a better word, imagine what he's gonna do in like 4 to 5 years if he keeps it up. Like maybe
Right.
he'll make a platformer. Like maybe he'll make his own platformer. Maybe it'll get big. Maybe who knows? Maybe he'll make a career out of it. But
And oh, go ahead.
oh, you go ahead.
So, just touching on that, like recently in the recent years, my favorite kind of games to play are indie games, you know,
Hmm.
because like when you're not a big studio, when you don't have the money, you have to get creative. You just got to be clever, and if you want to put out a good game, um, you have to you have to be creative. So I feel like a lot of times indie titles are just so much better than certain things being put out. You know what I mean?
Oh, for
Obviously,
sure.
like just generalization, but like you're saying, that can definitely lead to that. I could absolutely see some kid messing around in the program's called Lunar Magic. That's the one you use to make ROM hacks, you know, and eventually just making their own platformer using an engine and making their own unique thing. And now they've got a career and they could, I mean, look at Celeste,
Right.
uh, which I, I hope you know what Celeste is. I said
Hmm.
that to somebody the other day and they were like, I've never heard of it.
I know what it is. Never played it. I've seen people play it. The LSG boys love it. A couple of our players talk incessantly about it, but I've never touched it. But I know what
It's
it
an
is.
amazing game, made by a really, really small indie studio. And like, I can't remember, it got awards for like game of the year. Just,
Hmm.
I don't know from where, but like, I remember reading that because they totally deserved it. Small little company studio, and they put out this amazing game that apparently some people consider the perfect game to speed run. You know, so not only is it really fun, now it's like earned its spot in a community of like speed running. You know.
Right. There's so many good indie games. Like my personal favorites are like Salt and Sanctuary, which was made by a husband and wife team.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That game is
right.
awesome. Limbo is like a dark
Yeah, sure.
atmospheric platformer. I love that game.
Okay.
And then like
Never.
does you never heard of Limbo?
No, no, no. Oh no, I thought you said. I heard you say limbo, and then I heard you say atmospheric.
Oh,
Uh,
it's I think it's an atmospheric platformer. Like it's how I
right,
would
I get,
describe
I get,
Limbo.
I get, I get. Oh yeah, I beat limbo. I definitely did that a couple years ago. That was
Limbo's great.
a game.
But then there's like the staples that everybody knows about. Like Minecraft was made by one guy who's now freaking like 100 times over a millionaire. Like the guy's
Oh yeah,
filthy rich off of like little indie game he made when he was unemployed. Um,
right,
Terraria is huge. Stardew Valley is huge.
right.
Like when you see AAA developers copy an indie game, that's when you know the indie game's made it. Like
Oh, I know. That's that's just that blows my mind every time I see something like that. Um, Somebody brought it up, and this might I might totally be off base in bringing this up, and I might be completely wrong. But in my stream, somebody brought up the PC like the zombie game DayZ,
mhm.
And I remember when that game came out, like I was blown away because that was not its own like. So the game was Arma 2, and somebody created
Daisy was a mod of Arma 2, right?
right, and then they created the actual game from that. That's awesome.
You want to go even deeper. So my roots with gaming are like BattleNet, Blizzard's online platform or service. So back in the early 2000s, I played a lot of StarCraft on there, and my buddies were playing this mod called Aeon of Strife, I think it was called. Well, the makers of that mod went on to make a little Warcraft 3 mod called Defense of the Ancients, Dota. So Dota became this huge worldwide phenomenon. The developer Dota now works for Valve, makes Dota 2. People broke off, made League of Legends. Like Dota spawned an entire industry. Like a mod in StarCraft originally, and then in Warcraft spawned this huge like industry fad, like this huge worldwide phenomenon, all off of a little mod that some like high schoolers made.
I don't know if you and I were talking about it the other day, or if it was somebody else, but isn't Dota like, because obviously it has an audience worldwide, but like it's more watched than the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Dota, the international was more watched than the Super Bowl, and the LCS is more watched than the Super Bowl. So the League of Legends Championship Series, the NALCS, is the third most valuable sports league in the world.
I'm telling you, dude.
All starting from some little mod that a kid made in his bedroom using the Blizzard. He literally used the Blizzard map editor to create this mod.
That's insane. That is insane.
Like it's awesome. Like it's awesome how accessible it is nowadays, and how you can get into it. And like I felt like when I was a kid, like if I wanted to be a game developer, like there was no success stories at that time. Like there was no success stories in the early 2000s. Like if you wanted to make a game, you had to go to college and get a job where you're not making a bunch of money, and then kind of like be a starving artist.
Right.
But some people more persistent than me stuck to it, made stuff they were passionate about, and made a career out of it for themselves, which is really, really cool. It's kind of like, it's a lot like the esports thing. Like I was involved in esports in the early 2000s as a writer and just totally gave up on it because I'm like, well, this is going nowhere. I may as well spend my time somewhere else. And now look at what esports has become.
Oh, and I think we may have touched on this the other day, but it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, you know,
right?
Like, and people are going to find like more and more games to compete in, and more games are going to get made to compete in. Even just talking about like Kaizo Mario, you're playing a one-player platformer game, but yet every Saturday there is blind Kaizo races that they get put out, and then 5 minutes later, everybody goes live. The racers start playing, and they stream it on Twitch. And I mean, it's only for fun, you know,
right?
But it's for fun now.
I think it'd be super fun to do commentary for that. Like, I'd be so down to commentate.
I would love to. That would be so cool, dude.
Because I do Smash commentary 4 nights a week now.
Right.
I would love, like, my channel has become me not touching games. Like, I only touch games on my channel 1 day a week is all I get to play. Like, I stream 7 days a week, every single day, and I only play games once. Like,
no kid.
I do this on Mondays. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I have tournaments. So I do Smash randoms on Tuesdays, doubles on Wednesdays. Thursday's the day I get to play a game, and I do coaching sessions in various games with top level players. So last week it was Pokemon. We did some team building and learned about playing VGC, competitive Pokemon. And then on Fridays, I host first to 10s between top level players, so I commentate that. And then Saturdays, I do the singles bracket for our Galaxy Cup tournament, the third part of that tournament that's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then on Sundays, I do the podcast, and then we're right back here doing another show the next day. So it's like, I started this because like I wanted to play video games and create interesting content. That ended up with me not playing video games and just talking about them instead.
You never know, though. You never know where that's gonna take you, though. Like, you know, you just kind of like, if that's where you're kind of being led in that direction. You just got to follow it and see what happens, you know?
No, absolutely. So, quick question for you, back on the Kaizo subject a little bit. How
Sure.
has Mario Maker affected that whole world? Is Mario Maker like a useful tool? Is it an introduction? Is it the beginning of the rabbit hole?
So, and again, I'm by no means an expert. I'm just somebody that wants to be somebody in this community, you know what I mean? But if it like so people started making Kaizo ROM hacks. They started blowing up. Nintendo wasn't happy about it. Um, because they didn't want people doing that, you know? And surprisingly, and don't quote me on this, but from what I read, and a lot of this information that I have, it's I learned it a long time ago, and for I didn't have any reason to really remember it. I don't remember all the details, but from what I understand, Nintendo didn't have a leg to stand on when it comes to shutting down Kaizo ROM hack games because
Mhm.
now it's its own original thing. So they can't take it down. They can't sue anybody. And I want to say that their response to that was creating Mario Maker.
Okay.
So
So
now
it's
you have Mario Maker, and Mario Maker definitely drew in a much, much bigger crowd because it's a Nintendo game. It came out on the Wii U, which unfortunately,
nobody
kind of
had.
yeah, like, and we can have a really long conversation on Nintendo mistakes. You know what I mean? But even like I didn't have a Wii U, but I started watching videos on YouTube of people playing Mario Maker. Like some people were making really amazing levels. A lot of them were trash
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, this is a game that's made for um, children, I suppose. And so there's a lot of trash out there. There's a lot of levels that don't go anywhere. They're not meant to be good. They're just meant to like. It's. I always try to keep in mind like most of these levels are just made by kids in their bedroom that like
Are experimenting.
get to show to their buddy and be like, "Hey, played my level," and that's it.
But those are the
But
level. Those are the kids that like 5 years from now are going to be like the guy who made the ROM hack you talked about earlier in the episode. Like these kids that
right,
are 10, 11-year-old now and making these really bad levels.
I can't imagine the impact that it's going to have. Like, I hadn't even really thought of that, but you're absolutely right. In a few years, we might see an explosion of Kaizo ROM hacks. Um, but anyways, going back to like Nintendo, I definitely feel like I don't know if I would have gotten involved in Kaizo had I never seen somebody playing Mario Maker. I saw people playing Mario Maker. I saw that people were making their own levels, and I figured they were all going to suck. I was like, oh, people aren't going to make anything good. But then you see people making Nintendo quality levels, and then better than that, and then their own take on things, and it just grew from there. So I feel like Mario Maker 1, especially Mario Maker 2, it drew in a huge crowd. Now, the people that play, like the big YouTubers and streamers that play Mario Maker, they also play ROM hacks.
Mhm.
So now it's become this thing where it maybe not all people or anything, but like a lot of people that are into Mario Maker um, are at least familiar with Kaizo Mario.
Right.
When I first got Mario Maker 1, I went out and got a Wii U and that game, and that's the only game I had for it. That's the only game I played on the Wii U.
Oh, you need to play Captain Toad's Adventure.
Dude, I didn't even know that existed
That
until
game is
way,
so
way
good.
later.
Or Super 3D World is so good. So I had a
Oh,
Wii U because I got one for my kids. But
dude, 3D World, I've seen it. I've seen videos of it. I can't wait to play it. I'd love to play it. What
3D
a cool
World is phenomenal. That is my favorite Mario game, and I haven't played a lot of them. So I often talk about like how sacrilegious my video game experience has been, because
sure.
every key like franchise, there's core games that everybody hails up as the best, and I've just most likely never touched them because I was busy playing Star Wars: The Old Republic or StarCraft. Like
Mhm.
I missed out on so many games because of playing way too much Star Wars: Knights of the Republic and way too much StarCraft. Like I've spent tens of
Right.
thousands of hours of my life on StarCraft.
Yeah.
But I've missed all the Mario games between Mario World, Super Mario World, and 3D Land. Everything in between, I might have touched it once or twice, but I never owned it. The only two Mario games I've ever owned, or four, I've owned four Mario games ever. Super Mario World, 3D Land, or 3D, is it 3D World? 3D World's the one on the Wii U.
I believe it's 3D World.
3D World.
But I get a little iffy in that era too, because they did put out some games, and I think the 3DS might have
yeah,
a
3D Land was on DS.
Anyways.
3D World is on Wii U. So 3D World,
Sure.
Odyssey, which I haven't played still. I bought it on release day. My boys have beat it, but I've never played it. And then Mario Maker 2. Those are the only four Mario games I've ever purchased.
Man.
But what I will say, 3D World opened my eyes to how good platforming games can be. Like, I wouldn't have played Hollow Knight. I wouldn't have played Ori and the Blind Forest. I wouldn't have played Salt and Sanctuary. I wouldn't have played, like, any of the indie platformers that I've beaten since then. I wouldn't have touched them if 3D World hadn't made me realize this is fun. Like, this is actually challenging. Like, especially when you get to, like, the star levels where Rosalina is, there's so much cool little stuff. Like, there are levels that are super, like, narrow timing windows and stuff and super challenging. It just, like, cool wall jump tech stuff. Like, there's all kinds of cool stuff in that game.
Right. Even, like, I forget which game it is, but it got ported from the Wii U to the Switch. Me and my fiance bought it, and it might just be like New Super Mario Deluxe or whatever it is. The 2D side-scrolling but 3D looking game. It's a lot of fun, and then it has like speed run game types in it as well, where you play as Luigi, and you have to beat these levels quickly, you know. So I don't know, man. I think Nintendo's definitely catching on to the fact that, like, there's people out there that definitely want a lot more out of these games, and that they can be a lot more than just out of the past. But bringing up 3D World, Nintendo supposedly is working on putting out a 35th anniversary collection of, like, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, and 3D World might be in that pack, or it might be separate, but they're talking about bringing, from what I've read, they're talking about bringing 3D World to the Switch, and I cannot wait to play it.
If they bring 3D World to the Switch, I'll do a 24-hour stream of me playing that game to, like, no one. I don't think anybody's going to watch it, but I got an affiliate now, so viewer numbers don't really matter as much as they did a week ago. But
dude, I will join you on that. I will definitely join you on that.
If they re-release 3D World, I'll 100% do a 24-hour stream where I 100% it. Like, I love that game. Yeah, Nintendo tends to have a skewed perspective on what people want. Like, they're so used to the old way of doing things, and they're so traditionalist. Like, I don't want to get too deep into this, but we were talking a little bit about legality of ROM hacks, and that reminded me of what could very well be called ROM hacks. 20XX, which is a Melee mod for competitive Melee, and Project M or Project Plus for Brawl. 20XX is a very purist game. It doesn't really affect the mechanics of the game itself, but it has proper training tools, hitbox visualization, stuff to make competitive Melee more digestible for the average person. Like, it's all about getting better at Melee. It's not changing Melee. It's just about how do you get better at Melee. 20XX gives you like 20 tools and it's literally what spawned players like Fiction and Zane and these tech-heavy Melee players that have really pushed the meta. I love Melee too. Like, Melee's another thing. I've never played it. Literally never played Melee. Like, I've played like 2 games, but I love it. I can tell you all the lore. I've been watching it since 2008. Like, I would consider it one of my favorite games of all time, and I've never really played it.
That's so interesting.
But 20XX and Project Plus, like, the legality of it is, if they don't distribute the ROM, if they require you to own the base game and to purchase the base game to use, there's no laws prohibiting them from modifying the base game.
Right.
So that's why, like, 20XX and P Plus, and I'm sure Kaizo, like they don't tell you where to get the ROM for the base game. Because if they do, if they distribute the ROM for the base game, all of a sudden they're pirating. Like there's no black or white, like it's 100% piracy.
Right.
But if they don't distribute the base game, they tell you have to purchase the base game to use it, and so on and so forth. Like, then they're legal. Like, there's nothing illegal about it.
Right.
Like, they can't sell it, one, and they can't sell it, and they can't distribute the base ROM, are the two like rules that make these things that hundreds of people, thousands of people love legal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes I actually completely forgot about that. But I do that every time I download a ROM hack. So there's it's called smwcentral.com.net. I forget. But when you download a ROM hack, you're just downloading the patch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the rest is up to you. So you have to have that base ROM, and you have to have the software to patch it with the ROM hack, and there you go. That's the only way that it's legal.
Right.
You know, so like they leave that up to you. You know, you can just figure it out yourself, and it's not hard to figure out or anything.
It's not hard,
especially now.
but you can get in
But
a lot of
that's
trouble for
it's the
distributing that
only way that they can
information.
keep themselves from being liable for anything. You know.
Exactly. But
I completely forgot. I do that every time I download a ROM hack. Like I have to go through the process of like patching it, and you know, hey, it patched successfully. Let me test it. All right, it's working. Now I can play. Completely forgot about that. Way to just go through the motions.
how does that work with streaming? So streaming Kaizo Mario, I know. So I stream Pokemon Showdown sometimes, which is again Pokemon Showdown is essentially another ROM hack. It's a little different, but it's essentially a ROM hack. Because it takes the core mechanics of Pokemon and allows you to bypass basically the entire game except for battling. Um,
Wow.
yeah, 20XX or not? Wow, I got my things mixed up. Pokemon Showdown is basically what 20XX is to Melee. Like Pokemon Showdown allows you to develop your team and practice VGC rule sets or competitive or Smogon or whatever you want to play
Mhm.
in an atmosphere where you don't have to actually hunt down all the Pokemon and breed all the Pokemon and EV and IV the Pokemon, all that
Mhm.
incessantly time consuming stuff. Excuse me.
Right.
But when I stream that, there's no category on Twitch for it. Like I can't drag down from a menu and select, hey, I'm streaming Pokemon Showdown. There used to be before Amazon bought Twitch, but that's a whole nother topic and it like completely off subject. But before Amazon on Twitch, there was a topic for it. Like you could just choose that you were playing Pokemon Showdown. But
Right.
now there's not. So for
Sure.
Kaizo, do you choose Super Mario World? Is that what you set your channel as?
Right. So I kind of had that moment too when I went to go stream a Kaizo game. I was like, wait, what is the category for this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the retro category exists. Maybe that. Um, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna set it as Super Mario World and figure it out later. And luckily, that's what it was. Everybody that streams Kaizo Mario, that's what they set it as, because technically it is Super Mario World, just a ROM hack of Super Mario World. So that's what people go off of. That's what it is. And I don't believe like anybody has trouble finding it. I think everybody just assumes the same thing and goes from there. Um, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I need to check out Retro and see if people are streaming over there too.
No, it's so important to understand the community and understand where the community is centered. Like if the community is centered in Super Mario World, that's where you want to be. If you start out, if you're streaming that and you're not in the right area, like nobody from the community is going to accidentally stumble upon you.
Right, right. When you're trying to be a part of the community, you definitely need to go where they're at. You
Right?
don't need to finally go and try to reinvent the wheel. Like, oh, well, I'll go over here, and you kind of need to know that way they can find you. But yeah, you just stream under Super Mario World. So, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. Go check out Super Mario World, the Super Mario World category,
All
and
right.
just look at how many people are actually playing Super Mario World. It's not many. almost that entire category is made up of ROM hacks.
I'm looking it up
Every
right
now
now.
and again, like you definitely do see people playing the original Super Mario World, but for the most part, it's just ROM hacks.
Oh, and it's super top heavy too.
Oh
Like there's
yeah,
like two
yeah,
streamers that have insane viewer numbers, and everybody else is like hovering around.
yeah, for sure. Like those big guys, those are the guys here. Actually, I'll pull it up with you.
And it is this guy's playing Ultra Kaizo World too.
Right.
Like it's all
Which
ROM
apparently,
hacks. Grand Poo World, like it's all ROM hacks. There's like I don't see anybody playing the original game.
all right. You know where you'll see it? At the very, very bottom. At the very look at the top stream right now. Barber is King. The guy's huge in the community. I mean, I really look up to this guy, right? He's working in Lunar Magic. He's creating. That's the guy who created Grand Poo World. He's working right now, working on Grand Poo World 3. So,
it's really cool for creators like that to have a platform. Like we talked about them, like the creative types going into game development stuff. We didn't talk about them getting into content creation. Like if you want to design something and you don't want to profit off it, like you don't want to sell what you're designing, content creating is such a good option. It's such a good way to make a career out of doing something you love.
Right. For sure, dude. There's definitely different. If you want to be involved, there's definitely ways that you can do that. Like I'm in no way, shape, or form creative at all. Like I wish I could make levels and I could make ROM hacks and stuff, but I don't have it. I definitely can't figure that out. I'm just much more of a player. But like my fiance is a great example of like she is not good at playing Mario because she's never really played video games like that. But she can sit here and watch me play Kaizo Mario, and I'll get stuck, and she'll tell me, "Look, you need to throw the shell there and jump off of this and do this and this." And I'm like, "Oh, you're absolutely right." So she's the type that like if she was so inclined to, she could probably make amazing levels. She could probably make ROM hacks. Couldn't play them, you know, but she could make them. So I feel like there's definitely like if you want to be involved, there's definitely ways that you can do that.
This all just makes me so nostalgic for the StarCraft community because there was a lot of people I knew that were better coaches than they were players. Like they could
Right.
watch a VOD and they could tell me everything I did wrong. But if you put them in a game, they'd play 10 times worse than me. But they could
Right.
spot the mistakes and identify what needs to be improved on. Like there's a huge difference between understanding something conceptually and executing on it mechanically. And it's really
Right.
cool. It's
100%.
it's so cool when a product or a game or anything really when it allows you to blend the two, when it has like mechanical depth but also has that level the level of like intellectualism, like where you have to understand what goes into it in order to execute it. Like it's just when the two worlds combine, it's really cool.
Right. Oh god. My lighting's getting a little weird over here. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. My
Uh
dogs are barking in the background. It's a fun time.
but just going back and talking like these top 3 uh people in the Super Mario World category. So there's the creator of Grand Poo World 1, 2, and now 3, which are some of the most amazing ROM hacks ever made. And here he is showing everybody how to like he has videos teaching how to use this software because it's not necessarily easy to use.
Right.
The second guy, Dode, he's a speed runner. He's one of the big guys as well. The third guy, Glitch Cat, he's the guy from what I was talking about earlier, those blind Kaizo races on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that I think him and another guy are the ones that started that, and he's the one that does commentary on it every Saturday.
Oh, that is
And I
awesome.
know more events than just the Saturday one. The Saturday one is blind. It's open for everybody. Anybody can get involved. But they do have other races for prize money. So like every gift sub, every donation of bits, every all that stuff that channel makes, the Blind Kaiser Race channel makes, all that money gets put into basically half of that money goes to prize money, and the other half goes into like um, I forget what other things. I knew this just a second ago. Basically, they don't take any money. It's either going to the players or it's going back into the stream in one way or another. So, and then after that, like viewership just kind of drops off. Like they're there. These guys are out there. They're all playing ROM hacks. Nobody's playing, the original game. But uh, like I feel like the Kaizo community is kind of it's just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been around for a little while, but it's just starting to become a mainstream thing. More and more people are just getting interested in it. There's people that come into my stream and they drop levels all the time. And they're amazing level creators for Mario Maker.
Right.
And these guys, they're like, man, I really want to make a ROM hack. I encourage it. It's tough, but absolutely, dude. You don't know. It might be a huge ROM hack. But like even like I hadn't noticed chat. I hadn't looked at chat at all. Tortrick is one of my followers, right? He's 11 years old, and he sends me levels every now and again. Wait, 11, 12, something like that. He's young. He's in sixth grade.
Okay.
But like the other day, he sent me this level in Mario Maker, and you would think at that age he's going to be sending trash levels, and he doesn't. He sends very clever, thought out levels, and he sent me one that I absolutely loved. It was like one trick. The whole level was one trick. If you can pull off the trick, you beat the level, and you're done. You move on. But it forces you to actually like you have to learn and adapt to this brand new mechanic that I hadn't seen before. But him, an 11-year-old, he figured it out, and that's amazing. If I was a level creator, I'd probably steal his idea and make more levels with it. And hopefully somebody else takes my ideas, steals them, and makes more stuff with it, and that's just how it goes.
No, it's definitely like that's how development of anything goes, and it's really cool to see. Like we've talked about it so much. Like I didn't expect to talk about this much in this episode, but young people getting involved in a community and creating something really cool. Like it's awesome. That's
Right.
like I'm sure we're about the same age, so I'm sure growing up, like parents are like you're wasting your time playing that video game, and even nowadays, like my parents are probably watching the stream in the living room on their TV. Like I've I've been over to their house. I've walked out to see like okay, I walked in their house a couple weeks ago and I heard my friend's voice and I was so confused because I heard Lou talking about Pokemon. I'm like, wait, what? And I look
Right.
up and she's listening to they're watching VGC 101, which is part of our podcast series where we talk about Pokemon competitively. And it's just on
Right.
their TV. And so they went from the whole world view is went from man, video games are a waste of time to man, video games are this whole creative outlet, this entire industry. It's competitive. It's brings people together. It's creative. Like it's anything you want it to be. Like any type of person can
Right.
find their niche in this world and make something special. And it's really cool to see it flourish now. Like it's really cool to see kids investing in it and they're gonna be like the next geniuses. Like they're gonna be the next Ice Frog or whatever they really want to be. And it's really cool.
Oh yeah, dude. It honestly gives me chills thinking about it. I 100% wish that the things that are available now are available when you and I were kids.
Right?
Like that would have been fantastic. But like, and even back then, there was some games back then that did let you create your own little levels or race course or whatever, and you'd make them, but you couldn't share them with anybody. You didn't
Tony
know if they
Hawk
were any
skate
good.
parks.
They didn't go anywhere. But like now with so many things available, I honestly believe that like, and I really hate to call them esports because I really think that's part of the problem. That's part of why people don't take it seriously, is because esports, people don't take it seriously. If it was called like just competitive gaming and nobody ever called it esports, I feel like it'd be seen in a different light. But I think we're at the very beginning of, and it's not a new thing. It's definitely not a new
No,
thing.
it's a very old thing. Like it's something I just talked about being involved in 2 decades ago. So, like now, like literally 2 decades ago is when I got my introduction to like Korean StarCraft.
Right. Well, like I was thinking about this just a few days ago, like because I like playing Smash. I'm not in any way trying to become competitive Smash player. Not now. I don't have the time for it. I don't have the time to learn all these things. But when I was younger, I saw on TV, like I think it was, I don't know if you remember it, True Life. I'm a competitive gamer.
Oh God, I
Uh,
remember that show. I didn't know there'd been an episode about that.
oh yeah. I believe, like, unless I'm remembering it wrong, but there was an episode of this guy that was playing Smash. I think it was Melee, right? Smash Brothers Melee, the one on the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember seeing him, like he had his controller with him. He would take his tournaments, and I thought that was the coolest shit. Like I don't know why, in my young child mind, I just thought you, like, if you were gonna go to a tournament, everything be nice and set up, and there's controllers everywhere, and like, but no, this was like, all right, you're bringing your own controller, which is awesome. For whatever reason, that kind of blew me away. But you're playing in these like backroom tournaments. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like there was nothing mainstream about any of this. You were playing like this grimy, dirty, like competitive Smash, hopefully for some prize money, and then you were going home and just looking for the next one. And they weren't easy to find.
No,
So back then, I remember like playing and playing and play because I love Smash. I remember taking the time to learn what each character did, what he was good at, what he wasn't good at. Like I tried because I wanted to be that guy that got to carry his controller around to tournaments and like show people what I could do. But there just wasn't there wasn't a way of doing that. I couldn't have been, like 12 years old or something. Online gaming wasn't a thing yet, and for damn sure, your parents weren't going to take you to go play competitive gaming somewhere. Like
right.
I remember looking up these tournaments. Thinking about it now, they were in bars in like the most major cities in Texas, but not anywhere near me. So you had to like, if you wanted to do that, you had to travel. Like as a kid, you could not do that. You know what I
So
mean?
do you have the stream open?
Yeah.
So being the nerd I am, like here's my controller.
Really?
Like that's my GameCube controller. I spent way more than I should have on it. It's that
Right.
case color is only available from Japan. It's nothing. An open box is how I bought it.
Right.
I bought a 20-year-old controller in an unopened box, or like I guess not 20, like 15-year-old controller in an unopened box.
Right.
But Smash is still like not anywhere near its apex. Like one of the things I want to
Oh no.
accomplish.
I feel like it's just getting started. I hate to interrupt you. Also, I want to say that fucking controller is awesome, dude. Like, that is so cool. I'm the same way though.
It matches
Like,
the aesthetic of everything. Like it matches my shirt. It matches the stream overlay. It matches the LSG logo. It matches.
right.
Like I
No,
got an aesthetic.
that's absolutely perfect, dude. That's so cool.
But so LSG, like I feel like I waste my breath when I explain this because if you're on this video, you most likely came through it because of LSG. LSG Last Dot Gaming is something I founded a year and 3 months ago now, and it's all about competitive Smash. Like that's what we're centered around. Like I try to branch out. We try to do stuff around other games, but Smash is what it's centered about. And one of the biggest things that I want to accomplish with it is to provide opportunities for young players that might otherwise not get it. So we sponsor a bunch of players, but I'm going to talk about one, and this isn't any like offense to any of the other players. And if you guys listen to this, I love all of you. You guys know that. But Nico is the one that really stands out to me when I'm talking about what I want to accomplish with LSG because Nico is just finished his junior year in high school. He's a young kid. He's been playing Smash since Smash 4, like on the Wii U, online. But he hadn't gone to an event in person. Events nowadays not nearly as hard to find as they were in the past. Like there's Discord, there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's Facebook groups. Like Facebook is like old and dilapidated. Like nobody uses that but boomers. But Facebook is still like that's the place for
I hear you.
Smash.
I
It's
use it.
it's the place for Smash esports. Like if you want to get involved in Smash, like that's how you do it. Google
Right.
whatever city you live in, wherever you are in the world, and Smash on Facebook. Like type in the search bar Houston Smash Ultimate or your city Smash Ultimate, and you will find a local group with hundreds, if not thousands, of players playing this
Right.
game and people organizing events for it. And it's very much a passion project. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Like I have spent on LSG like at this point tens of thousands of dollars to put on events and do things with players and do things
Right.
like just to get stuff done. And I have not pocketed a penny. Like I've had partnerships with brands and stuff that have allowed us to put on some of the bigger events and things like that, but have
Right.
not profited a penny from any of this. And there's people that have put way more into the community than I have. Like there's so many people. There's people in Houston that have put way more into the community than I have. But the light at the end of the tunnel is like we were talking about, providing the opportunity for younger players to accomplish things that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise. So before this whole coronavirus shenanigan, um, there was an event called Final Saga scheduled out in California, and that was going to be the first major tournament that Nico ever went to. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I bought all the stuff. Bought him a hotel room. I paid for the tournament. I paid for his flight. Like full. I paid for everything for that event. Like to get him to the event, to have a place to stay for that event, comfortable that his parents could stay with him. Like I paid for a
Wow.
hotel room that him and his parents could stay in while they're at the event.
Right.
Obviously, the event never happened. The event got it was the first event to get canceled because of the coronavirus. And was it being canceled was a good thing, like health and safety wise, 100%.
Sure. Absolutely.
But that is like the goal. Like if I can send a young player with potential to make this a career, like even if Nico doesn't realize this, which I can guarantee you he doesn't realize this, but he has the talent to where he can make a career playing video games if he wants to. Like if he wants
Right.
to play video games for a living, this kid has the talent to do it. He's only competed for 6 months in person, and he's beaten the best players in Houston and the best players in Texas. Like
Wow.
the kid is phenomenally gifted and incredible work ethic, and really can go anywhere he wants to go. But
Right.
like you were saying, all this is so young that if we can provide opportunities to younger players like that, the opportunities that you or I never would have gotten because of the time we lived in, like if we can provide those opportunities to those kind of players, like that's what it is all about. Like that's what I
Right.
want. I want somebody to randomly Google what is Kaizo Mario, click on this video on YouTube, and then be inspired to pick up a controller and pursue something they love instead of like go to school, have a backup plan, but do something you want to do instead of stuff you feel like you
Oh,
have to. Like you,
sure. Absolutely, dude. I'm right there with you on that. I couldn't agree more on stuff like that. But I mean, it gives me chills. Like I hate to keep saying that, but I feel like even from the first time we ever talked, I feel like you and I see things very similarly. You know, like you try to nurture him and like put him out there because one day he's probably going to be big. You know,
mm-hmm.
and he's probably going to be so big he's going to forget about you. You know, and that's okay because you know that like he's gonna like at least like you know that you helped him. Now he's made a career, he's taking care of his family, you know, and you were able to be a part of that. But like, or maybe you know, he probably won't forget about you. But even if he does, like, I'm sure you wouldn't feel any like ill towards it or
No,
anything, you know. But like, I've never gotten to do anything like that. But I've always been big. I feel like everybody should have just going back, this is probably really late in the stream to even like go back and talk about origin stories and stuff. But like my older brother's 3 years older than me. He got a Nintendo, an original NES at 2 years old. A year later, I was born. So I was born and there was already an NES in the house. And then we got a Super Nintendo. And I don't know how we got that because my parents were definitely they didn't have any money, but they provided us with that. You know what I mean? So we've always had video games. And I feel like having that definitely changed who I was as a person growing up and as an adult, you know? So I'm very big on like I really want all kids to have video games no matter what it is, whether it's a platform or a puzzle game or whatever. I feel like it can do so much for your life in terms of creativity and having an outlet and stuff like that. Um, but especially like or even more so for the kids that might actually turn it into something,
right?
you know, because I can not to like toot my own horn or anything, but when I was a kid, I definitely had the time. If I had a way to play competitive anything, Street Fighter or Smash, I probably could have gotten somewhere with it. Not to say that I would have been, number one player in the entire world or anything, but I guarantee you I could have paid some bills with it,
Right.
But hopefully, like these next kids that are coming up, hopefully they can do that. Hopefully they can make a name for themselves with that, or become creators, get involved in one way or another, because you don't have to, to be involved, you definitely don't have to be a player. You can
It's
be a creator, or you can just be a supporter, like you can get involved in plenty of other ways. But I definitely think um, video games can just do so much for so many people in so many different ways.
are
And
they
it's taken what are we, 30 years into like at home video games, that like now video games are barely just now starting to be seen in a positive light. So we're at the beginning. You and I are at the beginning of it. You and I have the opportunity to kind of help push people out there. And like, I'm big on like, I will totally buy some kid if some kid tells me that he has a video game system but he doesn't have a controller because his broke, and this has happened to me before, I will buy that kid a controller.
Mhm.
I'll give him one of mine, or I'll go buy him one because he needs it.
So again, not to hype up my own stuff or what I'm doing or anything. The story behind this controller that I'm holding in my hand right now, we were at low tier city 7, and I paid for an Airbnb for our players. I paid entry for a bunch of our players. We had 4 sponsored players at that event. Um, one of my players came up to me and was like, Tim, my controller's not working. What do I do? And so I reached my backpack and I said, here. And I gave him a controller that I bought off of freaking Facebook, like Facebook whatever marketplace. Like I met a guy in a sketchy Pasadena neighborhood and gave him $20 for a controller. Like
Right.
it felt like a drug deal. Like I met him in a back alley parking lot, gave him $20, and he gave me a GameCube controller.
And
But
never looked back at each other.
right, um, but I gave it to my player, and so I was like, man, now I don't have a controller. What do I do? And he thought like I was loaning it to him, but no, that was a gift. Like that is his controller now, and I think he still uses it. But I went to a booth at the event for Battle Beaver, and they had the unopened box for this controller, and so I bought it, and I had him put a paracord thing on it, and the pink buttons, and all that nine. But it was all because I gave my controller to a player that at that event his controller broke. So
Right.
like those little things are so rewarding. Like nothing's more rewarding than investing in people. Like even if you ignore the whole industry thing, ignore like all the doors that may or may not open up in the future, like the true reward comes from the investing into something A that I'm passionate about, and B something that's like provides opportunities for these players down the road.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Um,
But
because I mean, it's just, I feel like it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? If you've got a kid in front of you that's an artist and his pencil broke, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna walk away? No, you get the poor kid a damn pencil. Go get it to him so that he can start creating, so he can start doing something with it. And he might never do something with it, but you're giving him the opportunity to. You're helping give him the opportunity to, and it's not like any. Hopefully, he just does that later for somebody else.
absolutely.
Uh, that's Tyler right there in chat. I don't know if we talk about chat much or anything, but yeah, Tyler is my future brother-in-law, and he's new to streaming, and he needed a headset. He needed a camera for his stream. I went, did the same kind of transaction that you did for that camera, and I drove about an hour away. I drove an hour away, an hour back, so I could get him a camera so that he can stream. You know what I mean? And I don't do that. I don't do that because like I need him to like. I mean, I don't know. It's just he's enjoying doing it. I want him to continue doing it. Here you go. Let me help you do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Speaking on that, I think I don't know how much time we have left or how long you usually run this stuff for, but I think doing stuff like that is also hopefully that will spark like the beginning of turning a lot of these communities around from being very toxic gaming communities into more positive ones. And you're always going to have toxicity and shitty people, shitty players, but you know, I don't know how the Smash community is. I've heard like
There's two very distinct sides to the Smash community. It
is it
is
really?
the most welcoming place in the world and the most toxic place in the world all at the same time. Just
So
depending
that
on
50-50 is super accurate, huh?
yeah, it is. If you hang out with the right people, it's the most welcoming community you'll ever find in the world. If you fixate on Twitter and that side of the Smash community, it's the worst place in the world. Like
Right.
Smash is simultaneously the best place and the worst place. Like I you'll if I talk to you daily, you'll find like my best friend, I'll text her and I'll be like, man, I'm done with Smash. I never want to touch this game again. I never want to see anybody that plays this game again. I never want to talk to anybody from the community again. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, man, the Smash community is the best thing that ever happened to me. Like
Right.
all
That's
ecstatic about it. Like the Smash community is very polarizing. And all I would urge you, if you want to get into competitive games of any variety, focus on the community, focus on the people that you do it with, that you enjoy doing it with, the people that you enjoy talking to, and the aspects you enjoy. Because if you let the negativity overwhelm you, then you become part of the problem rather than part of the solution. So
sure, absolutely.
I don't think like even let's say you want to get into League of Legends or Valorant, and all you've heard about is how toxic the communities are in those games. Like, don't let that stop you from getting into something you want to do. Like, if you want to play those games and you want to excel at those games, you can do it. But you have to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So you have to, instead of fixating on the negativity, you have to find the positivity, no matter how small it is, and help make it even just a little bit bigger.
100%. 100%.
That being
Uh,
said, it is time to wrap this up because we got
all
to play
right.
some Mario Maker on your stream after this. So, what would you?
Good.
Anything you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
One thing I would like to plug for sure, besides my own stream, twitch.tv// TanukiAlan. Wow, that's the first time I ever actually had to say that. Um, Nothing. Actually, that's pretty much it. Besides like Tyler in chat, Crawdaddy 1599, you can find him twitch.tv/ Crawdaddy 1599. He streams every single day. You know, he's young. He streams every single day. He's loving it. He's staying out of trouble. And I get the privilege of joining him on Wednesdays and playing Call of Duty with him. Call of Duty, another toxic community, but you know, I don't know if it'll ever change, but hopefully it just stays there and the rest of everything else can kind of get better. But no, I mean, I really don't have anything to plug. Come find me on my Twitch if you enjoyed any part of this. Hopefully we can do this again sometime. I really had a lot of fun doing this, dude.
No, man. Thank you for coming on. Now, the one thing you did forget to plug: follow this man on Twitter at TanukiAlan. Like, you got to grow that Twitter presence. Follow him there.
Dude, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And follow Crawdaddy 1599. I wouldn't follow him right now, so you guys can too. Take 2 seconds out of your time, go follow him. But
thank you for that, dude. I personally appreciate that. I appreciate that, man.
Couple of things I got to plug real quick. Last Stop Gaming at Last Stop Gaming on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Find us there, follow us there. A simple like, follow, retweet does wonders of difference for me. If that's the only thing you follow, thank you. This is my Twitch, moo_SSB. If you're on YouTube, go to twitch.tv/moo_SSB, moo_SSB on Twitter, moo_SSB on Instagram. Not on Facebook, which I oftentimes try to plug, which isn't a thing, so don't follow me there. But I'm live every single day. We're live. I went over this earlier in the podcast, but if you're still here, Mondays is Monday Musings, where I get people on and we talk about random stuff. Tuesdays, we have a $1 random singles Smash Ultimate bracket. If you've never competed in Smash, join us. Smash.gg/LSGGC2 is the link for this week. If you've never played competitive Smash, if you're from Alan's chat and you're in here right now and you want to play Smash but you don't know how, check that out. DM me if you need any help. Like, that's the tournament for beginners. Doubles are on Wednesdays, 2v2. So if you, again, another opportunity, if you want to play doubles online and you're not familiar with it, come check it out. Wednesdays, that's Wednesdays. I'm losing track of my days now too. Thursdays, I get coached by top players. We do Why I Suck is the name of the series. We did Why I Suck at Pokemon last week. We're gonna do Why I Suck at Palutena this Thursday with number 2 in Louisiana, LSG Zai, coming on and teaching me how to play that character and the intricacies of all the technical stuff for the easiest character in the game. Fridays, we do First Stock Fridays. If you want to watch high level Smash, if you don't know where to begin, come here. We'll have a first to 10 this week. This is actually the first time I'm saying this week's matchup. We'll get spawn points Radish King versus number 2 in San Antonio. So Radish King's number 3 in Houston versus number 2 in San Antonio, Haru, who's actually unsponsored. Another really young kid that has endless potential in this game. They're going to be playing a first to 10 live right here. We'll go up on our Last Talk Gaming YouTube immediately after. Saturdays, again, another tournament. If you guys want to enter Smash, if you want to put your foot in the door, this one's $2, but it's just a standard traditional singles bracket. Come play, hang out, have some fun, hopefully learn a thing or two. And then Sunday is the LSU podcast. This coming Sunday, we're having VGC 101 Part 3, where we talk about team building and getting into competitive Pokemon. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. Thank you guys for coming by the Twitch channel. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And we'll head over to TanukiAlan now here in just a couple minutes, and we'll play some Mario Maker. So see you all there. Thanks.